Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to get out of your own feelings of isolation and just separation from the world and feeling unlovedness by putting your attention on how can I serve someone else? How can I express love to someone else? And how shifting that mindset can just help you get over yourself. So, um, the first step, the very first step, of course, is to be aware, to just constantly, this is like a constant meditation, all day meditation. When you're watching your brain and you're watching your thoughts and you're like, what am I thinking of right now? And am I feeling sad? And at least, like, it's been 7 years for me to be doing this, but now it's easier for me to catch, like, not nonstop thoughts, although I do catch my thoughts also often. And when I find myself thinking of thoughts that I don't want, then I switch it to thoughts that I do want, in my case, God. Mm, excuse me. and but then when I'm feeling sad, so I will lose time sometimes, like, hours or whatever. And then I'll suddenly be like, oh, I've completely lost hours. I have no idea what I thought about in the last few hours. And then what we want to do is switch our thoughts to whatever positive thing that you want, that serves you, that takes you where you want to go. So when you are when I'm feeling sad, then I catch myself more often. And now the thing is, so okay, you can do that basically whenever you're feeling sad. Just practice, 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 practice. And this is gazillions of lifetimes of anarthas, of traumas, of fears, or whatever that we have. So be very kind to yourself, that it's going to take a long time, years, decades, whatever, to be able to slowly, slowly, slowly start to catch your thoughts. But don't give up, just keep doing it. And when you start to catch yourself, like, you start catching yourself every few hours, then you start catching yourself every few minutes, and then there'll be phases where you're catching yourself much more frequently and phases where you're catching yourself much less frequently. And you just patiently endure. There's this book that I was reading that had this line: you patiently endure all the ups and downs of the process. You patiently endure this for years, decades, whatever, because it is absolutely, totally worth it. It will completely change the consciousness that you have right now, which will change your life. So, for example, if you want to shift out of your current limiting beliefs and limiting identities, like I am a lazy person. That's been my that had been my identity and no longer is. But when you shift that out, when you want to switch that out, then you just keep thinking. You can affirm, like, I can do difficult things. This is my affirmation, not saying that I am a hardworking person, because that's difficult for me to believe immediately. But I can be a hardworking person. That is very easy for me to believe, because I have had phases where I have worked very hard for things that I've wanted. So shifting to things like that. So whatever your thought process is, you can shift out of that. And whatever negative feelings that you're having, you can do. So now, okay, so when you're feeling feelings of isolation and separation and feeling unloved a little bit, or I mean, there might be 10 people that have reached out to you, and that might have happened yesterday. 10 people reached out to you, called you, showed up at your house. Yeah, I'm talking about my experience right now. There's so much good happens. People are like very good, very warm, very affectionate, all is perfect. And then one day there is one conversation with one person where you feel like, I mean, you feel politeness and you don't feel like that heart connection happened. And then it just derails you. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm alone. Right? So what do you do in those kinds of situations? How do you get out of it? One is to understand intellectually. This is the process where you understand that, intellectually you understand, and then you keep repeating that to yourself, and it'll eventually go into your inner being. But you have to start with the intellect first to convince the mind. The intellect has to be engaged, and then it has to work towards convincing the mind. And then the mind will get convinced. The subconscious mind, or the fears, the traumas, all of that will be soothed. But you have to first be aware of what's going on, and then be like, okay, and then allow the feelings to be there, allow the sadness to be there. Don't make it wrong that you're so stupid, you know that that's not true. You just talked to 10 people yesterday and you had such a good day, obviously you're loved. Why are you feeling? You don't do that. You just be like, okay, you're feeling unloved, okay, I accept it. You want to cry, you cry. You want to, your tears roll out, you roll out. You want to talk to someone, you talk to someone. And at the same time, you understand that this is not true. You ask yourself, is this true? I mean, it is not true. I have this evidence and this evidence and this evidence that I'm loved by people, but you don't even need that. You can have that evidence that you're loved by God, and that is where you actually source. So then you understand that what you're trying to do is you're trying to source the love from outside, source the feeling of self-worth from outside. And this is a very tricky thing, right? Like it's very easy to say it superficially but not get to the depth of the meaning of what it means and to actually feel it. So right now when I'm saying it, I feel like I'm not really getting through probably to many of you, because it's very tricky to understand it. It's easy to say it, but it's trickier, much more difficult to understand that I do not like what another person does is completely their action and completely dependent on who they are. Different people will react in different ways in the same situation, right? So whatever they do is up to them. So if they are responding to us, choosing us, not choosing us, that is completely on them. I do not need to. And if why I'm feeling bad if they're not choosing me or feeling warm with me or whatever, like slightest bit of sensitivity or whatever, why am I feeling bad? I'm feeling bad because I'm saying that I want to feel worthy. I want to feel like I'm good. I want to feel loved. I need love, like I need air to breathe. I need love. And I'm giving you the responsibility for telling me that I am loved. So if you're not loving me in whatever way, right, either you're not responding to me or you're being polite to me with me or whatever, if you're not loving me in the way that I want to be loved, then I'm going to hold you responsible and I'm going to be resentful to you. I'm going to feel bad that you're not doing the right thing. And it's very subtle. I mean, you might not actually feel bad about them. You might feel bad about yourself and you might be saying there's something wrong with me. But at the end of the day, it's basically that you're saying that this other person is the one that tells me whether I am worthy or not. And so then the question is, how do I feel worthy? And my way is God, right? I mean, and everybody's way would be different. But my way is gratitude, basically. I go through so much every day. I'm just so like a hawk looking for good things that have happened during the day, that it's not possible for me, and it's miracles. Many days it's just absolute miracles that are happening. I'm but it's that's also taken years of practice. So knowing that, I know that God loves me. I mean, there is no question, because it's just, it's every day, it's constant, it's non-stop. And so when you're going into this thing of gratitude and you're looking for the good in everything that's happening around you, then you start to believe that something is taking care of you. Even if you don't necessarily believe in God, something is out there, something is taking care of you, the universe or higher power or something. And when you know that, then your need, at least intellectually, when you're talking to another person or interacting with another person, relating with another person, and you feel that there is something that you wish had been done better, because you're still craving that love from somebody else, you're still craving that validation from someone else, then at least intellectually you know that that's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. You know what the person does, whether they respond or not, has nothing to do with you. People respond or not respond or whatever because they're, I don't know, either busy or they're not used to, they're not very connected, or maybe they are with other people but not with you because of whatever reason. They're not, it doesn't mean anything about you. And if you understand that, then you get to this place where you think you then okay. The whole goal of this video is to get yourself out of this by thinking about them. What can I do for this person in order to make this person feel good? How can I make this person feel loved? What can I do for this person to make them feel loved? And when you get to that, then you can start to completely shift, and everything shifts for you, because you're out of your own head that, oh, woe is me because I am not loved. And then you are thinking, what can I do for the person? Oh, okay, so there was this thing that I heard, this really beautiful story from that I'd heard from this person that I absolutely loved, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. And he was talking about this story from the Mahabharata, basically. So there is this person at the end of the war. There is this grandfather. So there were two sides. There was the good side and the bad side. But the bad side and the good side, the grandfather was the same for both of them. And the grandfather happened to be on the bad side. Even though he was a very good person, he happened to be, for whatever reason, he happened to be on the bad side. And obviously, the bad side had to lose. The good side had God on their side. So Bhishma was the name of the grandfather, and he was lying on a bed of arrows. He had this boon that he could choose when to die, and he didn't want to die until the war was over or whatever. So he was lying on this bed of arrows. So he was in intense, immense amount of pain. Like, he was explaining, like, imagine there is a lump, just a little lump, not a needle or anything, but just a lump on the bed, and we'd be so uncomfortable sleeping on that all night long. And this is not a lump, this is a needle. But not just a needle, but many, many, many thousands of needles. He is not thousands, hundreds maybe, but he is, or whatever, he is in pain, excruciating pain. And this person comes in, the good side person. After the war was over, the good side won. So this good person, the king, the person who became king, the eldest son, he came over, and he was immensely guilty for so many reasons. He was immensely guilty. There was so much bloodshed. There was that war was just ghastly and brutal, and he was just feeling like he's responsible for that, and he was just feeling really, really bad and really guilty. And he came to talk to Bhishma. And Bhishma, instead of talking about my pain, like, oh, I'm in so much pain, I'm groaning and this, and like, oof, and none of that. He, instead of worrying about his pain, he's asking him, you look disturbed. What is going on? I wanted to cry at that time. I was like, this is, I have heard this story many times, but never in this way, you know? And then yeah, I'm getting emotional right now. And then he gave another example. Imagine somebody is dying of cancer, and they're in the hospital, and they're going through chemo, and they're going through all kinds of things, and they're in immense pain. And somebody comes to visit them, and this guy says to that person, I need to. This guy says to that person, the person who's dying of cancer and is going through so much pain, he's asking the person who's visiting him, you look disturbed. What's going on? So much love, right? So much love. This is what we want to be. Instead of just worrying about ourselves, like, why is this person not doing things for me? Can we think about the other person and be like, what can I do for you? How are you doing? Tell me how I can help you. And when you get to that, then life changes, completely changes. Yeah, this story basically, I think, was the reason I wanted to do this. I'm glad I remembered. I hadn't remembered it, but it was subconsciously there that I want to talk about this during the video, and then I'd forgotten, and it just came up right now. So yeah, incredible, right? This is love. This is love. We worry about the other person, not about ourselves. But we need to be at a place where we are strong enough for that also. So we need to build ourselves up. And the way to build ourselves up is to turn to higher power, because the only person we can feel loved from is a higher power or God. We cannot feel loved from another human being because they're struggling in the same way. And what we can do is we can give them love. That's what we can do. And if we give them love, most likely they will give it back. But we're not giving them so that they can give it back. We can give it unconditionally. And we can receive unconditional love from God and give God also love unconditionally, of course. Okay, yeah, that's it for this video. Wish you a day filled with, maybe that's what we can do. Ask ourselves, this program that I'm doing, they have this questionnaire that we're supposed to fill every day. I've not started filling it because I didn't commit to it. One of the questions is, did I think about somebody else today? Did I do something for somebody else today? So maybe we can do that, like ask ourselves this question every day. Did I do something for somebody else today? Or did I think about somebody else today? As in, not think about as in what can they do for me, but think about how to help them that way. Okay. Wish you a day filled with a lot of love for somebody else, a lot of giving. Radhe Radhe.